We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Credit affects down payment and approval terms, plus tax, tag, and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. Offers don't combine.
Did you miss Theoretically Speaking?
Lamar Jackson is going to go down as the single greatest regular season quarterback of all time. The man who has won a Heisman and 2 MVPs in the league. I don't say that disparagingly about what he has been in the postseason, which he would even admit is not up to par, 3-5 all time. The winning in the postseason is going to determine whether or not we think of him as a top 5 player, and he won't rest until he gets a Lombardi with the Ravens.
It's Theoretically Speaking, weekdays at 2, here on ESPN 106.3.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Live on the road from Hurricane Grill and Wings over in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, an outdoor Friday edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, April the 11th, 2025. End of week, second round of the Masters underway. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez got you for the next 2 hours right here on ESPN 106.3. Also streaming live on YouTube at ESPN West Palm, on Facebook as well, alongside Twitter/X. We said it. It's the second round of the Masters, basically in the thick of it today. You had a lot of players have their second round. And Rory McIlroy, most notably, put on a show today. Rory McIlroy finished 6 under, through 18 after a collapse in the last 4 holes of the first round yesterday. In the 15th hole, he double bogeyed alongside 17. Rory was in a position there, 4 under, with 4 holes to go over in Augusta to really put himself in a good position to be safe. It's a safe. You got to escape the first round. He double bogeys 15 and he double bogeys 17 to go in even on the day. But then, to Rory fashion, the guy who's chasing immortality alongside Scotty Scheffler, trying to become the 6th golfer ever with a triple crown, to a grand slam, I should say, with the 4 majors. He hasn't gotten the green jacket, but he went 6 under today. By far the best score of the bunch to this point. Justin Rose still in the lead at 8 under. DeChambeau put together a great day today, put together 2 good days. Was 3 under yesterday and 4 under today. But McIlroy right in the mix. You got Scheffler just getting through the front 9. He is 2 under on the day, so a safe performance from him. But I got to give Rory credit. Let's start there, Mike.
Yeah.
Because Rory, it was almost a classic Rory round yesterday at Augusta. He put together, he was strong, he was sailing, and then he gets to that 15, and that double bogey hits the water, had to redrop, had a long putt to try to put himself in position, and he escaped there. All right, you're a double bogey, you're still 2 under, you got 3 to play. 18 has not been nice to people all day long. You got to escape, and you're not dead is what we're trying to say. You're not dead after that. And then he had another double bogey, and then you're sitting there wondering, all right, Rory's going to do it again.
Right.
But I got to give him credit. 6 under today, put together a very good, put on a very good show for everybody over at Augusta, and now he's right in the thick of it. So I got to give Rory a lot of credit for turning it around.
He's been in contention in the Masters before, too. We've seen him be able to put up a couple of consistent rounds. It usually comes up on Sunday when the capitulation starts to happen. But I honestly, I'm a big Rory guy. I was sick to my stomach last night. I do family dinner with my family in Boca every single Thursday. It was to the point where we were looking at the leaderboard. I'm like, wait a minute here. When I left work and Colin and Christian at 6 o'clock yesterday, Rory was 3 under. He was 4 under. And I get to Boca, and he's even. I texted Christian Cat. I said, what the hell happened? And he, said exactly what you just said with the double bogeys and whatnot. So I'm happy that he was able to get back into contention, and I think it's great for golf. This leaderboard of Rose, DeChambeau, McIlroy, and Scheffler is really good for golf. And if I'm pulling for a guy, it is Rory. I sprinkled a few credits. Imperial credits on Rory McIlroy with our good friends at Hard Rock Bet. So I'm on the Rory train this weekend, and I know a lot of people are as well. Now, I also like Americans to win, and I know Rory necessarily a European and whatnot, but he's my European golfer. If I'm rooting for a European, it's going to be Rory McIlroy. But, the Scheffler 3 out of 4, that'd be really cool. And, for Bryson, who's 7 under right now, I think it would be cool for him, for the LIV guys, to kind of put respect back on LIV golf.
There's a couple stories. You got Bryson right in the mix. You got Scheffler trying to do 3 and 4 years. Now you got McIlroy shooting at 66 today at Augusta. I'm okay with this. And Justin Rose, a treaded water today. He finished 1 under. Now he's 8 under. He bogeyed 18 yesterday. With bad momentum coming into the next day. But he treaded water today. It's going to be a very interesting Saturday and Sunday at the Masters.
Very much so. And I think it's going to be must-watch TV come Saturday and Sunday. With how these guys are playing, it doesn't seem like one guy is clearly running away with the tournament. It's like that 7. It's anywhere from like that 6 to 8 range. Obviously, Rosie had a couple of chances to get over 8 today. But how about Justin Rose? My buddy laid down a bet, and it was $10 for Rose. He bet $10 on Rose to be the leader after the first round. He won $660.
Wow.
And I go, how the hell did you know that? And he pulled up the stat of 3 different times going into this. He was the leader at the end of the first at the Masters. So fair play to that. I'm not necessarily a Rose guy. I much rather see Rory, DeChambeau, and Scheffler win.
I like that almost. You get the 2 through 6 range are people that are vying for a little sense of immortality if you're Scheffler and McIlroy, or really getting back to the promised land if you're DeChambeau for all of LIV.
Right.
And then you got Rose, who's kind of quietly sitting there at the top, who you're sort of waiting for somebody to pass him. So that's my theme there, is that if golf can maintain this, if Scheffler can finish off this back 9 at the Masters, I know they don't call it that,
right,
but properly, and he goes in 6, 7 under, they would be pretty pleased. But for the other part of the leaderboard, Mike's got you covered over at the Masters.
Yep, folks, let's do a leaderboard update. This leaderboard update is brought to you by Pain Care Florida. Folks at Pain Care Florida, their specialists use state-of-the-art procedures to relieve pain and get you moving. Pain Care Florida, stop hurting, start living today. And this leaderboard update, as we said, brought to you by the Breakers Palm Beach, Kaiser University, and the PGA Golf Club. Let's get everybody updated here. Justin Rose, as I said, sitting at 8 under. Rosie at 8 under, and he is the leader after round number 2. Bryson DeChambeau sitting at 7 under. Rory McIlroy at 6. Tyrell Hatton at 6. So you got 2 LIV guys, Kyle, within the top 3, tied for the top 3. Tyrell Hatton and Bryson DeChambeau. Scotty Scheffler sitting at 6 under as well. Matty McCarthy at 5 under. Big Shane Lowry sitting at 5 under. Corey Connors at 5 under. How about Jason Day? Jason Day, who I thought would probably fizzle out, he's sitting at 5 under right now. Now, he is through 10 holes. A couple guys still out there right now, obviously, at Augusta. We're getting on that 4 o'clock hour. So tee times are obviously winding down, and we are going to be getting to the backside of the Masters. And as I mentioned, that leaderboard update is brought to you by Breakers Palm Beach, Kaiser University, and PGA Golf Club.
Is it almost important to play a great round the second round, or do you sort of want to save it for the week? Because you're not going to have a great round every day. Rory going 600 today, he needed because it was a rebound day.
Right.
You needed it for the confidence. But is it almost in your interest, and not like these golfers can totally control it, pin placement, weather, this all goes into it. But if you're going to have the mojo a certain day, you'd almost rather it either – definitely not that first day. Too much pressure continuing through the week, which is why I don't think Rose is going to close this out. But if you're going to do it, that second round is sort of no man's land unless you're rebounding. And that's what Rory did.
Right.
So I almost think, when do you want to have your great round? Everybody's going to say, of course, Sunday. You want to have that in triumph and comeback. But a lot of the guys you want to be in a position to make the cut. You want to be in a position striking distance. You know, if you're 5 back and you're on hole 7 on Sunday, you're in some trouble. You're not getting there.
Yep, and the projected cut, I'm happy you brought that up. The projected cut is sitting at 2 over. So, obviously there are a lot of good golfers right now that are sitting at the even mark and the 2 over who and like 8 under. Obviously, like if you're sitting at even, you got a lot of work to do. But tomorrow, say like you're sitting at even at the end of the round today, you could have a good Saturday and put yourself within striking distance on Sunday. Until someone proves it, it goes 10 over, 11 over, 12 under. I do think that 8 is going to be that number all weekend long that these golfers are going to be chasing. And to answer your question, would I rather have a good round early or later? Obviously later, but I think consistency. If I could sit in the middle, if I could sit on the fence, I think consistency is the perfect place to be. If you're consistently going 2 under, 3 under every single day, you're going to be in position on Sunday to be able to possibly win a green jacket. And I think that's exactly what golfers like DeChambeau are doing right now. Tyrell Hatton, Scotty Scheffler. These are guys who are going 4 under, 2 under, consistently within the Masters the first 2 days.
It's have your great round and then float.
Yes.
Have your great round and then don't fall underneath the wave. That's the key.
Yep.
You got to make sure that if you're the Rose of the world.
And that's what he did today.
Float. Where everybody's sort of waiting for you to have, your 2 double bogeys on the front nine.
So, have you hitched your wagon to somebody? Have you hitched the hypothetical wagon to a golfer?
I think Scheffler's likable. I don't want to do the easy answer. I don't think Freddie Couples is going to win this one.
You're not a Rory guy. You're not a Rory guy, huh?
No, I believe. Listen, the immortality. I love the story. I think there's 2 sides of immortality that 2 guys are chasing. You got Scheffler right here trying to get 3 and 4 years, and we talked about it yesterday, and Rory trying to get that Grand Slam. But other than that, if I'm looking outward, I would love to let DeChambeau's a likable guy. But so I wouldn't hate it for Liv because I think Liv needs the boost.
Yeah, they do.
Right? There's a reason for everybody.
For
and
sure.
I don't necessarily. I'm not going to be crestfallen if DeChambeau goes 3 over and all of a sudden he's out of it. So I'm not too wrapped up into one guy. I will wait probably till Saturday, and then I will sort of decide because who's really within reach. But there's a reason for everybody. DeChambeau has got Liv on his back at the moment, and you got Scheffler, and then you got McIlroy, you got Rose, Rose who's trying to accomplish the 4-day lead. Like that would be interesting.
The guy I keep misremembering is Tyrell Hatton. He's lived too, and he's sitting at 6 under. So it's really him and DeChambeau that are carrying that torch. I got a rule, Colin, when it's golfers. I want an American to win. That's the American in me. If I had to pick a European, it's Rory. And in this case, I'm going to have Rory trump the American card because I want to see him win the Grand Slam. I've followed his career since, Colin, when 2012? Or 2011 maybe, when he shot he had the career best, the best round, at the U.S. Open. Like, I've been following him since I was a wee young lad. I would really like to see Rory take that next step, get into the company of Jack and Tiger.
Yeah,
and
return
really
to glory moment.
Yeah, and
there's your opportunity.
And I think, it's good for the European side, too, and the European golfers. Like, right now you have 2 guys who have completed a Grand Slam, and that's 2 Americans in Tiger and Jack Nicklaus. I think that it'd be cool to see Rory McIlroy do that.
6 total have done it. 6 total, so... Or he would be the 6th. 5 total has done it. Rory would be the 6th if he were to do it. So, if you want to talk about storylines, if you want to be interested in the Masters, you got 3, 4, 5 different storylines that you could get into remaining. So, that's our Masters update. That's our takeaways in the thick of the second round at the moment. You got McIlroy, who put together an excellent day. You got Scheffler, who is on hole number 10, I believe, at the moment. DeChambeau had put together another rock-solid round. He was 4 under on the day. And then guys like Shane Lowry put together a good showing. So Scheffler, all eyes are on him. He's 6 under at the moment. He's 2 under today. So he's right there tied for 3rd. But that's Scheffler. You want to play consistently good.
Yeah.
And you don't need to necessarily be extraordinary once. You need to be very good every day. That is good enough to win at the Masters. That is what you need at the Masters. You don't need to be extraordinary for one day and then fizzle out. You're not going to do anybody any good that way.
Right.
You got to be consistently, reliably good.
And this is his course. right?
It's got his number.
This is his course. He
Accomplish the impossibles. That's why there's something there.
Correct.
So we're into that.
And 3 out of 4 would be, him and Jack Nicklaus. It would be certainly some crazy territory. By the way, I apologize. Here are the guys who've done the Grand Slam: Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. That is the company that Rory McIlroy would be joining if he were to win. So sign me up for Rory. Sign me up for Scheffler. Sign me up for DeChambeau. I think Saturday and Sunday are going to be special, and I can't wait to the neighbors 3 floors down, Colin, might hear Jim Nantz coming out of my apartment on Saturday and Sunday.
You would get a sound bar? I mean, how are they going to – Jim Nantz is not that loud.
They might. But what I'm saying is it is going to be on full blast coming up at the Rizzo apartment.
Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Damian Perez helping us out back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We're live on-site outdoors on a Friday edition at Hurricane Grill and Wings over in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. They got happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. They got all day Saturday and Sunday. They got food specials and discounts, beer, wine, mixed drinks. They got it covered. If you want to come in on Monday, they got $12.99 wings open to close. $12.99 wings. That's from open to close. Tuesday, they got 99-cent wings. Wednesday, they got trivia night. They got prizes for everybody. There's no other reason. I mean, geez, you need something every day? You got something covered over at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Go check them out today. Locations all over South Florida. As we roll on here, big story out of the NFL is the Browns started showing their cards a little bit by signing another quarterback. So at a certain point, Joe Flacco now back under the Cleveland name and recognition with the franchise. What are you going to pull the Giants? And now you get the Giants with 2 veteran quarterbacks, and you got the Browns with 2 veteran quarterbacks. Technically 3, barring an injury. Technically 3 with the Giants as well, with Tommy DeVito.
Correct.
So they got 3 apiece. I didn't buy it 2 or 3 days ago, but now both of those teams, the Browns and the Giants, who were floated as a quarterback, are now going to be in the driver's seat to either trade down to get the best player available. Is somebody going to trade up now to see if they could go get Shedeur Sanders? A lot of questions remain that we have to answer on the flip side. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
In South Florida, when it's time to get back in the game, there's a name you need to know. HSS Florida. HSS ranked number 1 in orthopedics for 15 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. HSS brings world-class care to Palm Beach and Wellington. Whether it's a joint replacement, sports injury, or orthopedic trauma, HSS Florida treats athletes of all ages. Visit hss.edu/Florida to schedule your consultation today. HSS Florida, where champions and everyday people alike get the care they need to stay at the top of their game.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news and stats to placing bets in just a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code JOEQ to get started today. That's JOEQ, JOEQ. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit 1 checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Breaking news from Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. No tariffs on all new Kias. Put your tax refund to work today. That's right. While others talk tariffs, Greenway Kia gives you unbeatable deals. Tariff-free. Turn your tax refund into your dream ride now. Like a 2024 Kia Telluride starting at just $38,998. That's thousands less than the competition. Plus 0% financing available on select models and tariff-free pre-owned vehicles ready to roll. Got a trade? Push it, pull pull it, drag it. Any make, any miles, any condition. We'll take it. Got a job making $350 a week? Our lenders want to approve you. Put your tax refund to good use. Drive away tariff-free today at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800 New Kias or visit GreenwayKiaWestPalmBeach.com.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Credit affects down payment and approval terms, plus tax, tag, and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. Offers don't combine.
Yeah, man. Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Listen, if you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, who I actually had lunch with earlier today, they're the type to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. They're the best in the business for a reason. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes is one phone call to take back control of your life today. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation now. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. The funny thing about Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine, who I had lunch with today, Mike, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they said a couple things. First thing, the big surprise of the day was Glenn Levine actually has done like 100 Ironmans.
100?
I'm being a little hyperbolic.
Full on, though? Full on?
He did one full, and he's done 100 of the halves. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me. I'm like, hold on a second. I'm in the thick of Ironman training for myself.
Sure.
I got my race in 9 weeks in Boulder, Colorado. And so he starts picking my brain a little bit. Hey, like, how you doing this? How's your swimming? How's your cycling? And he was very interested in the swimming. And I told him, like, listen, I had a shoulder thing. I'm fixing my form. It's sort of a work in progress. And I could see, like, the lack of belief sort of formulating.
And this is just in the water. The question is about you in the water.
Yes. And he's sort of like just picking my brain on my swimming ability. And I could tell he had some concerns. But it's a work in progress. And Mark Anajar, who I think has done some triathlon stuff at a marginal level, I believe. That was my impression. He chimes in, and he says he's got, like, pool noodles that he wants me to use. Like a noodle, like so I could use it or one of those pool life vests, you know, like swimming.
You're gonna swim in it.
No, I'm not gonna swim in it. But like that was his master plan to get me to survive the swim was to have a pool noodle.
Well, you'd be disqualified.
I don't know the rules. I would assume maybe.
I don't need to know the rule. Kyle, you can't have a flotation device while swimming.
Right, and that was his grand plan, to keep me alive in the water. The goal is to be alive, stepping out of that reservoir. If I'm alive, I'm gonna finish the race. If if something happens, then it's not gonna go well.
So you're gonna resort to cheating.
That's what Mark Anajar wants me to do. But I'm not going to do that. No, it was funny. But Glenn Levine is going to be my little pseudo coach to get me through these last 9 weeks as I start to prepare.
What was for lunch? What'd you have?
Some chicken dish. I needed some protein. It was good. It was good. It's a Cajun chicken dish. We were over down in Fort Lauderdale.
Good.
And it was a good spot. But I had a great time with Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Go check them out today. Well, on the NFL side of things with Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez live at Hurricane Grill and Wings in PGA in Palm Beach Gardens. We got some little NFL news. And you want to talk about teams that are sort of showing their cards a little bit. The Giants did it a couple weeks ago by going to get Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, seemingly, in my opinion, putting them not in the front seat, but in the back seat of the quarterback sweepstakes in the NFL draft. Well, add the Browns to that equation. They have Deshaun Watson technically under contract. They got Kenny Pickett in the mix, and they brought back the short-time hero, Joe Flacco. He is going to be rejoining the Cleveland Browns. He signed how long of a 1 year contract?
It's 1 year, $4 million, but it could be $13 million with incentives.
So an incentive-laden deal, 1 year. Joe Flacco is back. If you're the Browns, and you're gonna get 4 quarterbacks in the quarterback room? I know Deshaun Watson's gonna be hurt, but 4 quarterbacks in the quarterback room does not help anybody. You're suiting up 2 on Sunday. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put Joe Flacco on the practice squad? You're gonna put Kenny Pickett on the practice squad?
Paying him $4 million?
He would have signed elsewhere. So if you're going to I didn't believe it when we talked about it earlier in the week that Shedeur would drop. But at the very least, the Browns and the Giants of the world, who sit at 2 and 3 in the NFL draft, I would guess that they're a little cold on the idea of Shedeur Sanders being their next big quarterback. Now you got to be on this too.
Yeah, and as a Brown fan, I wanted Shedeur. I wanted to be signed up for Shedeur Sanders and figure out the franchise quarterback. I think that's the most important thing, obviously, in football, is to figure out your franchise quarterback. This move tells me the Browns are not confident in any of these quarterbacks high up in the draft. Now, can they take Jalen Milroe in the second round, third round, whatever?
And that's still a lot of quarterbacks. But what are you going to do with Milroe? You're not even going to bring him on Sundays. He's not even going to travel with the team.
At this point, I think it's locked in. Either the Browns taking Hunter or trading down from the pick and acquiring assets.
That would be it. And that's the same thing with the Giants.
And I think the thing that makes the most sense to me would be to, at least as far as how I know the front office runs from, recency bias with them, they'd probably trade down, acquire assets, and trade up for a franchise quarterback next year. That'd be my 2 cents. On the flip side of things, you take Travis Hunter. You need a receiver. You could always use corners. Imagine everyone saying that Travis is a better corner than a receiver. So, all right, you'd get Travis Hunter and Denzel Ward at corner, on top of Greg Newsome and a bunch of other good players that the Browns already have on the defense. So I think it's one or two things. They either trade down, acquire assets for a quarterback in a quarterback draft next year, or they go all in this year and they think Joe Flacco can get back to where he was 2 years ago with the squad and pick up on that theme, magic, and mojo, the pillars that this show is built on, draft Travis Hunter, and go from there. I'm optimistic a little bit today. I can't lie, Kyle.
You like this move.
I call me drinking the Kool-Aid.
But you were Team Shedeur.
I was,
48 hours ago.
I still think Shedeur is going to be a great quarterback in the league. But once I started hearing the Joe Flacco songs again all over Instagram and Cleveland radio today, I got to be honest, baby, I'm feeling the fever. Give me the Flacco fever again. Sign me up for 11 wins in the playoffs.
I don't understand.
Sign me up for 11 wins in the playoffs. Steelers stink.
There's no guarantee of that.
The Steelers stink. The Bengals are a mess. They're paying 2 wide receivers and nothing else.
The Ravens are good.
The Ravens are great. I'm not.
There's 3 great teams.
The Ravens are great.
There's 3 great
teams.
But I'm telling you, the Browns.
There's no reason the Browns can't be better than the Steelers and the Bengals next year. There's no reason that the Cleveland Browns can't be better than them next year.
I wouldn't call it with the Steelers with Rodgers. I'd probably sign up for the Steelers over the Browns.
Fair enough.
And I think that's fair.
It's fair. I'm just saying.
The floor is so low.
I don't think it's, and I agree, Kyle. I just don't think it. For me, being a delusional fan, we talk all the time about delusion and whatnot. I guess a delusional fan in me is thinking there's a world we live in where the Browns could be the second best team in the division behind the Ravens. That's all I'm saying. And if
just because of Joe Flacco?
Just because of Flacco, baby. Get the songs out. Flacco's back.
I don't believe that.
I got the Flacco fever.
I don't believe that.
Now, it's not that
he's a floor raiser.
He got benched last year in Indianapolis. So let's make one thing clear. All right, he got benched in Indianapolis, but in a Kevin Stefanski offense, in the perfect scenario, I think, Kyle, do you agree? I think Stefanski could still coach. I do. I think he could still coach. I think he dealt with injuries last year.
I'm a Stefanski guy, 100%. I'm just trying to understand. It just sounds like this is more of a Shedeur thing than this is a team thing. And it's another second team to jump in this boat.
No, and I'm going to add another team. And maybe the Jets do still draft a quarterback, but the Jets, they got Justin Fields.
Hold on, but that's my second point. My second point is now that these 2 teams are out, I think the pings on the Raiders and the Jets' radars just went blaring. I could see both those teams who are not...
Who got Geno and...
Sure, but this is a backup opportunity now.
Okay.
I know Geno's a 2 or 3 year start. You can probably get out of that in 2. And then Justin Fields is a $40 million over 2-year quarterback, a cheap option nonetheless.
Well, Fields isn't,
It gives you options. So I think having a viable backup, he doesn't need to start right away. Who's saying that? Who's saying that? You think Deion's going to be super upset if he goes to a Tom Brady-ran football team and has to sit for 2 years? No, he's not going to be upset. Maybe he will. If he is, then Deion's crazy. Because those radars just started blaring off. And whether the Steelers make a move for it, that's all dependent on Rodgers. I imagine he'll make a decision before the NFL draft. If he doesn't, again, another person that is so self-important that he doesn't understand the actual value of timing in what's coming up in the NFL draft. He has to make a decision in the next 2 weeks. So if I'm sitting there and I just saw what the Browns did and what the Giants did, I would be less discouraged It's not a situation where, all right, now I'm off of Shedeur. But they have worse picks in the draft. If Shedor's not going to go at 2 and 3, all of a sudden 4, 5, and 6 are probably not going to go after Shedeur because you're talking about the Patriots, you're talking about Jacksonville, you're talking about teams that have quarterbacks.
Right.
And it gets to the Jets, and then eventually the Raiders would probably have to move a little bit up, but not to the lengths of going to the second overall pick. If they could get him at 8 or 9, you're signing up for that.
If you were one of these teams at 2 and 3, like the Browns and the Giants, can you really pass up the haul that some teams might give you to move up and draft Shedeur Sanders?
Who's going to be desperate enough to send up a huge haul to move up?
Kyle,
Unless you're trying to leapfrog the Jets, you're probably calling Jacksonville before you call the Browns and the Giants because there's no leverage. There's no leverage. You guys have 3 quarterbacks. Prove it to me that you're going to get 4.
There's always somebody that is desperate, right? I go back to the Mitchell Trubisky years when the Bears traded up, when no one expected. Like, there's always a team that is desperate and likes the guy. There's always a team that falls in love with one of these quarterbacks. I don't know if these teams are going to be like. Listen, Travis Hunter. I love, I think he's going to be a good pro. Abdul Carter, I think he's going to be a great pro. These are good picks, but at the same time, if someone's offering you a first-round pick and a second-round pick this year, like that's a future first, like Kyle, that's going to be tough to pass up. It really is.
If you got the Raiders at 6, the Jets at 7, I'd screw that up. I thought the Raiders were deeper than that.
It's okay.
The Saints were at 9. Those are the 3 teams whose things are, or the radars are pinging for Shedeur Sanders, in my opinion. Now, you got to assume. If you're the Jets, you just have to leapfrog the Raiders, and you're not going to play leapfrog more than once. It's just not worth it. If they want to give up the haul to go get him, please be my guest. We have Geno Smith, not the biggest deal in the world. And if you're the Raiders, you also have to play ball and understand whether you think that the Raiders are even going to get a quarterback because they got Geno. So what type of leverage are you trying to get best overall player, or are you going to try to get a backup quarterback with your first overall top 10 pick? So there's 2 sides to that. So the Jets might just hold their line, call the bluff, and he might follow them at 7. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a no-brainer if you're the Jets. It's a no-brainer if you pick up Sanders there at 7. And whether you think Sanders is going to be great or not, it doesn't matter. This is a first-round quarterback, a guy who has some prestigious notoriety attached to him. I think he's actually he throws a good football. Whether you want to talk about the arm strength and all the intangibles, Zach Wilson had a great arm. How'd that work out? So you can't go all by intangibles. Based on the games I've watched, he throws a good ball. He turned Travis Hunter into it was both sides, a very good receiver. And if you're the Saints, if the Saints want to move up to 9, you're only going to 4 or 5. I have a hard time seeing the Saints going from 9 to 2 because you're going to give up the house and then some.
Is it worth passing, because we've seen in the past teams forego drafting quarterbacks, and ultimately guys end up losing their jobs because those quarterbacks turn out to be good. But more often than not, these quarterbacks don't pan out.
I don't think that's a question with the Browns. Would you agree with that? I don't think the passing up of Shedeur Sanders is not going to make or break a job.
I don't think so. Because
now, I think that's a different question with the Joe Shane and the Giants.
That's what I mean. And even to take it a step further, I know the Jets; those guys just got there.
No, they're not getting ready.
They're not. But at the same time,
like clean slate.
Colin, 2 or 3 years, you look back and go, "Oh God, you passed up on this guy, you passed up on that guy."
You're gonna have more opportunities.
You will, but at the same time, man, if Shedeur is good, that's gonna hurt a lot of these GMs that don't take.
They got to win games. If they miss out on a drafting a quarterback and they didn't get a guy at 7, then that's not going to be the thing that owners look back on 3 years down the line and say, this is why I'm firing you.
And also,
it's because they don't put together good rosters to win.
And also, I think these, the guys who have a leash, obviously Sheen and Dable need to win next year. But for the guys that aren't on an immediate leash like next year, they understand that this is going to be a quarterback-heavy draft coming into the next year. So maybe you're going to be able to, acquire some assets, trade in.
Defer.
And that's exactly what I see. I think the Browns right now see themselves in a win-win. The problem is, man, if you pass up on another franchise quarterback that ends up being good, those people, and trust me, I am one of those people are going to lose. My fellow people are going to lose their minds.
Here's the real question. If you're Joe Shane,
rolling the dice,
do you think that getting Jameis Winston, having Tommy DeVito, and having Russell Wilson, you think that is handcuffing him to getting a quarterback?
I think they.
Do you think that's a decision?
Let me say this. I'm on the side of those guys already dug their graves. That team won't win next year with those quarterbacks. They don't have enough quality on the right. And I
don't think Shedeur coming in there is going to win them a substantial.
It doesn't. But Kyle, if Shedeur looks good, Say they win 6 games and Shedeur is the answer, you got some leadway. I think Russell Wilson with 6 or 7 games, I don't think that's enough. I really don't. And as far as
so the answer to that question would be, no, they're not handcuffed to drafting a quarterback. If that's the case, they know that. So if that's the case and they're thinking, well, we might as well shoot for the stars and have so many options that one ought to be solid.
We talk about the big splash. We thought that Sheen and Dable needed to make a splash, and they necessarily didn't.
One has to work.
They're betting their bums on coaching and being able to get this team to turn it around. Kyle, what's really, outside of a couple of free agents, and I know they signed a lot of players on defense and whatnot, but a lot of the same's coming back next year. A team that lost, 10 games, 10 out of their last 11 games? I don't know. I thought you'd see more changes there with New York, and I understand that people could say the same thing about Cleveland, right? But I think the Cleveland roster is significantly better than the Giants roster.
Well, here's the thing. If that's the case, and I think Russell Wilson's a good floor raiser. I think that ceiling can go to 7-8 wins, and I think if they get to 7-8 wins, I think they keep their jobs.
Pittsburgh, better roster. Tomlin, in my opinion, better coach. They won 10 games.
In a tougher division.
They won 10 games.
In a tougher division.
I'm subtracting 3 from that. That's why I said 6 or 7.
In a tough division. So keep that in mind. And I know they got the Eagles and the Commanders sitting there, but the NFC is not as good as the AFC. So, but bottom line, how I'm viewing this is, if that's the case and they need to have some sort of viable future option in the short term, in the next year, then signing Russell Wilson and signing Jameis Winston does not change their opinion on whether they're going to get a quarterback or not. It just gives them options. So if you're on the team, they're just trying to accumulate as many options as possible, hey, somebody's got to work out. Or if you're on the flip side of things and thinking, we're out on Shedeur. We don't necessarily want the baggage. We don't think he's that great of a player. We're going to draft the best player available. If Travis Hunter is there for them, if the Browns go get Abdul Carter from Penn State and they get Travis Hunter provides enough of a buzz with Malik Neighbors if they could win a couple games with Russell Wilson that maybe they could survive. So what side do you think Joe Shane is on? 888-760-3776. Can they go get one? Are they going to go get a quarterback? Is that desperation going to seep through on draft day? Or are the Jets and the Raiders and potentially the Saints now in the driver's seat to go get the second quarterback off the board? It's Russo and Rizzo live from Hurricane Grill and Wings. We continue onward here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees within the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 24 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and Men's Lacrosse title. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
Banyan Printing. For 47 years, the trusted partner for all your printing, mailing, and signage needs. And 2025 just brought something big to Banyan. Introducing Banyan's new press. Bigger, faster, and more competitively priced than anything you'll find anywhere in the Palm Beaches. Think variable data postcards, bulk mailings, and high-quality print on stocks up to a 24-point board. Banyan Printing. Visit banyanonline.com and discover how your business's printing materials can get bigger and better.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
This is ESPN 106.3, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies, and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Well, you get the second round of the Masters underway. You got a little NBA action as the regular season comes to a close this weekend. You got the MLB right in the thick of the action. You got a lot to look forward to, a lot to watch that you're already going to be watching anyway, so you might as well sprinkle a little action with it over with our pals over at Hard Rock Bet. Go download the app today in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Go to hardrock.bet online to get started now. Hard Rock Bet, it's easy. You can just check out the Discover page if you're a bettor just like myself a couple months ago, and you're trying to figure out sort of where to go, what to take advantage of, how do you, what type of parlays interest me. Go check it out on the Discover page, what other users build, and you can tag along in just a few short taps. That's how easy it is. Or if you're the experienced player, you put it together yourself. That's how acclimating it is to both types of players over on Hard Rock. If you try it now, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay, a prop, the over, whatever you like to bet, any game you choose. Win that first one and get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Try it now. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT.
Speaking of our good friends at Hard Rock Bet, should my Flacco fever delusion me into putting money on the over for my Cleveland Browns?
They haven't even drafted their draft class yet.
And I'm ready, man. I got Flacco fever.
What do you the schedule's not even out
I don't care. Got Joe Flacco back, baby. We're going to the playoffs.
I don't understand this 180 that you've taken.
We're going to the playoffs.
Joe Flacco was.
I wanted him. So here's the issue. I wanted him back last year, and Watson felt threatened. That's why they didn't bring him back. This move tells me two things. They don't give a damn about Watson anymore, which is great.
Well, it's clear. Haslam said at the owners'
You heard
meetings.
the owner. You heard the owner in this move. Fantastic. Perfect. Now we can finally move on. Flacco is the bridge quarterback, right? Go ahead, take Jay. Now, I know you can always shoot up two, but go ahead, take Milroe in the third round. Let him learn from a guy like Flacco, Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Learn where? He's not even going to travel with the team.
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
He's not even going to go on the plane.
Kyle.
Come
on.
Pickett's not staying at home. You're not bringing three quarterbacks.
Come on.
You're not bringing three quarterbacks. Not with a 52-man roster.
Come on. Let's go. I got the fever. With our good friends at Hard Rock Bet.
Hold on,
Hit that Browns over.
Do you love Flacco so much? Let's leave Pickett at home. Why'd we sign him?
Screw! I didn't want Pickett in the first place. I don't even know why he's on the roster.
Well, they paid him money.
He should be playing. There's a football league going on right now, and God forbid I remember the name because I can't. He should be playing in that football league, not this one. So that's how I feel about Kenny Pickett.
Well, they paid money for him, so he's going to be traveling with the team. How many quarterbacks can you – what about when Watson gets healthy?
What is it? How many darts can I throw at a dartboard? You got to hit on one of them. Go ahead and take one in the first round next year,
So what we just said about the Giants –
go ahead.
You want to sign up.
Yeah, take a flyer.
Take a flyer. The Browns actually have the luxury of a pretty decent roster.
Take a flyer,
Let's just draft quarterbacks every round.
Not every round.
Somebody's got to work
I said you could go Milroe at what, 34? That'd be the pick, right?
You want to draft with your second round pick should be a starter.
Go ahead. You're taking Travis Hunter, the best player in the draft.
Okay, that's one player.
You're taking Hunter, the best player in the draft.
8 picks. Like you're the 34th pick in the draft is essentially a first rounder.
With Flacco, you have the luxury of being able to take a quarterback later in the draft.
If the Browns take Jalen Milroe at 34, that's a major mistake.
Okay. Fair enough.
Major mistake.
They won't. That's not how they operate. This move tells me they're not taking a quarterback. I'm just being delusional. Can I be a delusional Brown fan for one? Can I dream of playoffs for one out of the 365 days?
You signed somebody for $4 million, and now we're a playoff team?
And the last time we had this guy starting a quarterback, we were playing in a playoff game. All right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And with our good friends at Hard Rock Bet, I might be sprinkling some money on the Brownies tonight.
Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, live from Hurricane Grill and Wings at Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, on ESPN 106.3, streaming live on YouTube as well at ESPN West Palm on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X. Damian Perez helping us out back at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. I don't know how this happens, unless all these GMs are all in tune. But this is sort of how drafts go. There's the guy who is not even considered to be a first-round pick, and then he flies into it in the last couple weeks of the before draft season. And then you got the opposite. The guy who is off of play. Shedeur Sanders was being floated as the top overall pick at the end of the season last year. And now all of a sudden, he's, all of a sudden danger of falling out of the top 10? We don't know where he's going to be landing now?
Maybe Deion's working behind the scenes. Maybe there's a team we don't know about that he's going to.
But what is he
You want to know what that move tells me with this right now and the smoke screens and the Browns having a quarter?
They're showing their cards.
I think maybe there's a secret deal that he's going to sit behind Geno Smith for 2 years and then take the reins there with Brady.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's probably the move at this point. If I had to put money on it,
I don't think Deion has anything to do with it.
You sure?
What does he have something to do with? What do you think? If he called Andrew Berry and said, "Go sign Flacco," you think
it's not even go sign Flacco? It's just hey,
don't get him. You don't do that. That's not going to happen. And he did it to the Giants too, and we haven't heard.
Saw it in the NBA. I know.
Hold on, we haven't heard. And what about the other 4 picks before that we get to the?
If I had a 2 cents
get
right
to the
now,
Raiders,
if
6.
My 2 cents is that he's going to go to the Raiders. And that he's going to back up Geno for 2 years, and then he's going to take the reins. And it's similar to the Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix situation. I don't think that ever works. I always think the rookie is probably going to play before season's end at some point, and then you got a situation on your hands.
I mean, is it that big of a situation?
You got 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, you got to deal with it for Flacco. I mean, for
now
Cousins,
it worked out. It worked out for Atlanta because Atlanta found out they wasted $80 million. But the good news is they got someone in waiting behind them.
Yeah, same team that blew the last game of the season to get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
but
well, they botched the timeouts. That was on the coach.
Fine, but I mean, the point being is they were right there, and they were 6-3 with Cousins.
Sure,
so you got to keep that in mind as well. But I understand, but they're still spending the same amount of money at that position.
You're not on the conspiracy theory like I am about Shedeur.
I said that 5 minutes. I said that 20 minutes ago that the Raiders' radar is pinging off.
But I think
charts.
Prime's working behind the scenes.
No, he's not. Doing what? Who is he calling?
It's Prime.
Tell me who he's calling.
It's calling everybody. It's Prime.
Calling who?
Everyone picks up the phone for Prime.
GM? He's calling GM.
Calling Tom. It's talking to Tom.
Calling Tom saying what? Hey, Tom, tell the Browns to sign a quarterback.
Not even tell the Browns to sign a quarterback. Just put this out there. We only want to go to Vegas.
And have you heard that?
We only want to go to Vegas.
And have you heard that?
No.
So what do you mean put it out there? Put it out there to who?
What did we see 2 days ago? You're the one. We both said we didn't understand where's this Shedeur falling stuff coming
that's
from.
because of the perception of that's the perception of him. That's not because he's forcing his way downward in the draft.
Okay.
That's not the case.
You don't think it's Uncle Prime
why
working his magic?
haven't we heard that? Why haven't we heard that? If that's so well known amongst the NFL circles, why do we know everything about the NFL circles except for that? That doesn't make any sense to me, right? I understand the idea that the Raiders probably like him, and then maybe there's been a conversation, but I don't think there's been a conspiracy trying to go.
Another thing, I think I could totally see the Jets too, kind of just being like, all right, we'll take him, kind of thing. He's available. He's there. We have Justin Fields and nothing really anything else.
They're in more of a financial situation to take that.
Right.
They could get rid of him tomorrow.
That's probably
they
the
get rid
team.
of Fields tomorrow.
Do you think that's the team that makes the most sense? It's either them or New Orleans. New Orleans is 9.
I think the Raiders make a lot of sense too. I think the Raiders make a ton of sense.
It's those 3 teams.
If the Raiders are not delusional in trying to win 15 games next year, which is not going to happen, if they're not delusional in that regard, and Pete Carroll's willing to kind of stick this out for a 4 or 5 year period, I think getting somebody to sit makes a lot of sense.
It's those 3 teams, though. Like I'd
from now on, with the Giants and the Browns out, absolutely.
Pittsburgh would have to trade up. I don't think he's going to fall to. No, maybe Colony does fall to 20.
I'm under the impression Rodgers is going to be there, but maybe. Maybe.
And Rodgers isn't really. You saw how he.
You think Rodgers is going to go sign with somebody, and then they're going to draft the first-round quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you saw how. Remember the Jordan Love situation?
That's what I'm alluding to.
But
Now, you think he's going to deal with that? No. They're going to say.
By the way, is there any movement there? I mean, what is he waiting on?
We're not talking Aaron Rodgers until he is.
But I mean, my
pen
God,
to paper. This is ridiculous. I agree. The most self-important person in the NFL.
Dude.
We're not doing it.
I had a Steeler fan, Charlie Cartwright. From Gonzalez Acari Accident Attorneys. You can hear him on. He's friend of show for ESPN West Palm the Night. You can hear Colin and myself all the time on ESPN West Palm the Night. He said that he's going to wait. He doesn't want to do OTAs. He doesn't want to do minicamp, and he's going to hold out until all that stuff is over. That's 3-4 months from now. You're telling me there's 3-4. And it's starting to make sense. It really is. It's starting to make sense because he probably doesn't want to be there for all that stuff. I didn't mean to take the show that direction, Colin, but. My God. I mean, those 4 teams probably, the Saints, the Jets, and company, Steelers, Raiders. Those 4 teams, I think, would probably be the ones available for Shedeur Sanders. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Yeah. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. Where is Shedeur Sanders going to land? 888-760-3776. That's the number to get into the program over here on Russo and Rizzo. That's 888-760-3776. Now with the Browns and the Giants, sort of too many cooks in the kitchen in that quarterback room. Shedeur, I think it's open season on who's going to go get him. Is it going to be the Jets? Are the Raiders going to go pick him up, even though they signed Geno to an extension? Geno Smith, that is, to an extension? Or the Steelers are going to be over this Rodgers charade? Are they going to get both? What's going to happen? Are the Saints, who still have a packed quarterback room, they got Drew Lock and Derek Carr sitting there. That's another packed room. Are they going to go make a move for him? Where is he going to land about 2 weeks out from draft day, which the first round will be taking place at Lambeau Field? On the Masters side of things, Rory McIlroy, 6 under on the day, shot a 66. He is sitting firmly tied for third place after going even yesterday. He was 4 under at the 15th hole, double bogeyed 15 and 17, had a terrible finish, but he responded quite nicely, shooting a 66, the best in the field to this point. You got Scotty Scheffler, who now fell back to even on the day. He is -4 after 2 bogeys to open up the back 9 at 10 and 11. So Scotty Scheffler looking a little bit more human than years past. He is 4 under, tied for 9th. So there's your update there. But we got to roll on here. We'll do a little 5 at 5. We'll loop Damian Perez into the conversation. We thought we'd be cooking in the sun here at Hurricane Grill and Wings because we're outdoors on a Friday in April in Florida. But it's actually been quite nice.
It is. It is. It's been quite nice. And get on out here, folks. There's plenty of stuff to do
Mike
here.
thought we were going to be the pig above the fire.
I did.
And we were going to be, roasted meat.
I did.
For the birds of the area.
Well, I had 3 people come up to me and go, honey, do you have suntan? You know what I mean?
Passerbyers were looking out for your looking out.
They're
for
like, do you have suntan lotion? I said, why? They go, that spot gets really sunny. And I was just waiting and waiting.
You thought ahead. You tried to set up a tent. That didn't work out, did it? Didn't work out? What happened there?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Police officer. Hey, you can't do that. Where'd you come from? That's what happens over here. I don't know. Very bizarre. We got to roll on here. We'll do a little in the second hour of the program. We'll loop in Damian Perez, do a little 5 at 5 action, give you a little bit more Masters updates, get into the NBA playoff race a little bit. That's closing out this weekend. You had the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had a huge win over the Memphis Grizzlies last night. A 52-point third quarter propelled them. They are now out of the play-in, but technically still in the play-in, but tied amongst 3 teams with Golden State, Memphis, and Minnesota. With Minnesota 2 easy games remaining on the schedule and some tie-break scenarios that we'll maybe break down going further into the program. We got the second hour of Russo and Rizzo coming up right here on ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in. We begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
The new Spring Blizzard menu is here at DQ Grill & Chill. Cue the confetti! The blizzard of the month is the Confetti Cake Blizzard, a delightful blend of confetti cake pieces and confetti frosting, mixed perfectly with DQ's world-famous soft serve. The Confetti Cake Blizzard, just part of the new Spring Blizzard menu, which also features s'mores, cotton candy, and 2 brand new blizzards, dipped strawberry cheesecake, and mixing bowl mashup. DQ Grill & Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Breaking news from Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. No tariffs on all new Kias. Put your tax refund to work today. That's right. While others talk tariffs, Greenway Kia gives you unbeatable deals. Tariff-free. Turn your tax refund into your dream ride now. Like a 2024 Kia Telluride starting at just $38,998. That's thousands less than the competition. Plus 0% financing available on select models and tariff-free pre-owned vehicles ready to roll. Got a trade? Push it, pull it, drag it. Any make, any miles, any condition. We'll take it. Got a job making $350 a week? Our lenders want to approve you. Put your tax refund to good use. Drive away tariff-free today at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800 New Kias or visit GreenwayKiaWestPalmBeach.com.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Credit affects down payment and approval terms, plus tax, tag, and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. Offers don't combine.
Clinton and Friends hits the air weekdays, 10 a.m.
I told you guys that I went to the LAFC game when Messi was here. I got an email that was like, yo, heard you were at the game. Do you want to come on ESPN West Palm Beach? I was like, yeah, sure. I was handling my son, KJ, who is barely 5 months old. How am I going to keep him quiet? My son is my son, and he's a yapper. He likes to talk, and I told Mike Rizzo, my son's going to be here. If he chooses to talk, we're just going to have to deal with it. KJ didn't say a word. The force is strong within that one.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays at 10 on ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in. Ball game, Rizzo.
Live Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour of Russo and Rizzo right here on ESPN 106.3, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. It's Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We're over in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Come on by, check out their happy hour, which they got Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. They got food specials, discounts on beer, wine, mixed drinks. If you want to come different days of the week, Monday they got $12.99 wings open to close. Tuesday they got 99-cent wings. Wednesday they got trivia night from 7 to 9 p.m. They got prizes for all the patrons who take part. So go check out Hurricane Grill and Wings locations all over South Florida. Damian Perez helping us out. Damian, how you doing today, my friend? Everything good?
Good afternoon. How you guys doing?
Good. Anything interesting over the weekend for you? Any plans or what?
Inter Miami.
Inter Miami.
Yeah, both of us.
Big game.
What day is that game?
Sunday.
Sunday.
4:30. Sunday, 4:30.
Oh, nice.
Big fixture coming up.
Okay. So you got a big one there. And, Damian, it's time for us to have a little fun here. Let's do a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth!
All gas. No brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union. Proud supporter of FAU Athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
Well, Kyle, it is time to give you a leaderboard update from that tournament down in Augusta. And this leaderboard update is brought to you by Pain Care Florida. At Pain Care Florida, their specialists use state-of-the-art procedures to relieve pain and get you moving. Let's get on to that update. As I said, big tournament in Augusta. Justin Rose sitting at 8 under. He finished the round with a 71 today, but remember in round 1, 65. He was the low man, still is the low man for that fact, at Augusta. Bryson DeChambeau at 7 under. Rory McIlroy, what a day for Rory. Rory with 6 under today. He went 66 after finishing at even. Colin mentioned the complete capitulation on the last couple of holes on the back nine yesterday. Not the case today. Rory McIlroy sitting at 6 under. Corey Connors at 6 under. Tyrell Hatton at 6 under. And if you remember, Tyrell Hatton, live golfer. Bryson DeChambeau, live golfer. 2 live golfers in the top 3 right now at that tournament down there in Augusta. Matt McCarthy, 5 under. Shane Lowry, 5 under. Jason Day, 5 under. And Scotty Scheffler, who is through 12 holes. Scheffler, who is through 12 holes, he's sitting at 5 under. He is 1 under on the day. He finished yesterday at 4. How about that group right now? Jason Day and Scotty Scheffler on the course together. That is your leaderboard update for that tournament down there in Augusta. And folks, as we said, it is brought to you by Pain Care Florida. Stop hurting, start living today. It is also brought to you by our good friends at the Breakers Palm Beach, Kaiser University, and the PGA Golf Club.
What do we got next? Number 2, that would be.
So we talked about it earlier in the show, but the Cleveland Browns decided to sign Joe Flacco, 2-year, $4 million. It could reach up to $13 million.
Is it a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal?
1 year, $4 million. It could reach 13 with incentives. And certainly, I think that we talked how this could take the Browns out of the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes. To kind of switch things up a little bit, is this the right move? For the Jets, the Giants, and the Browns, is it the right move to kind of wait until next year's? And listen, these teams could still take Sanders and a quarterback in this draft, but from my perspective, Colin, these teams are going to wait until next year, a quarterback-heavy draft, to possibly take their young franchise quarterback. Do you agree with them?
Jets have an opportunity, too, because they have a new coaching staff. They got a new general manager. They sort of have their pick of the litter. They got somebody that can bridge them to next year if they need to. And if Fields stinks, the team's going to stink. And if the team stinks, then they're going to have a good draft pick. The Giants don't necessarily have that luxury. If it all goes awry in New York on the other side of things, the NFC counterpart, both the coach and the general manager will be out before we cut up the turkey on Thanksgiving. And if that's the case, then they're still probably going to be looking for a quarterback, but with new people at the helm. So they don't necessarily have everything in front of them. Now, according to Ian Rappaport about 3 or 4 minutes ago, Ian Rappaport is tweeting and reporting that the Saints have a major problem with Derek Carr, apparently, who is dealing with a shoulder injury that is threatening his availability for the season. According to sources, he is weighing his options, including the possibility of surgery. So a shoulder injury now put the availability of Derek Carr in 2025 seriously in doubt. Now that opens up a couple doors for the New Orleans Saints. They have Drew Lock there. That's not going to happen. They don't necessarily have a ton of cap space, so what, are they going to go get Rodgers?
Right.
Rodgers, they don't have the money for that. Or the other case, they're sitting there at the 9th pick in the draft. Jackson Dart. They try to go up and get Shedeur Sanders. Do they trade down and maybe get somebody like Milroe? They're going to need to get a quarterback now.
Yep.
They're going to need to get somebody. Rattler, that's not going to work out. You're not going to go second or third round and go get another Spencer Rattler who's going to fuse out before week 8.
The rattlesnake?
So they're going to be in a position now to have to find an option at quarterback. So that throws a huge wrench in the mix in terms of what that team is looking for. That team's not just going to roll over and die. That's not what the Saints do. The Saints are a pretty well-run organization. They've had Loomis there as general manager for the better part of 20 years. So they're going to try to figure this out quickly. They're in a terrible cap situation. The only option, the best option, might be to go draft somebody.
Yeah, and Colin, if Shedeur gets past the Saints, I don't see a team in the first round taking him. Unless it's Pittsburgh and they fall into the lap. But I could even see a world where Pittsburgh decides to go somewhere else. I wouldn't put anything past Pittsburgh once Aaron Rodgers is on the roster, as we alluded to earlier. So maybe the free-falling Shedeur Sanders stuff is starting to make more sense as we see this draft play out. Does a New York Jet roster and club who just signed a new head coach and a new GM want to hitch their wagon to Shedeur Sanders? And it's the same thing for the Saints. So maybe that's starting to pick up a little steam that Sanders might actually be slipping deep into the first round and maybe into the second round. But I am under the impression that a team probably like New Orleans is going to take him because they really don't have any other option. Now, I said the Browns don't have any other option, and they went out and got Flacco. And I do have Flacco fever, by the way. But neither here nor there. I can't wait for this April, in 2 weeks to see how this thing pans out, because where's Travis Hunter going to go? Where's Abdul Carter going to go? Are the Giants going to be able to not answer the phone and receive a haul for possibly a team wanting to trade up? Or the Browns going to be able to do the same thing? I know that kind of contradicts what I said to Shedeur falling in the draft, but you never know what happens on draft day. So a lot of storylines to look forward to. And Damian Perez, let's do number 3.
Number 3.
So, Colin, first off, congratulations on the Memphis Grizzlies and your bet hitting with our good friends at Hard Rock Bet. Colin was on.
Yet.
Colin, you won. You won the game. It doesn't hit?
No.
Did I jinx it to
the
Kingdom
T-Wolves
Come?
Won last night.
Oh, God. Well, John Morant did a grenade celebration. Kyle, John Morant did a grenade celebration. How sick are you of Morant? First off, this comes after a couple games after he did a pistol. He was toting guns at the hypothetical guns at the Golden State
bench. He's throwing grenades.
And now he's throwing grenades, and I apologize, in a loss. My God, Mike. In a loss.
Don't bet. If the Grizzlies are playing a playoff team, they're not winning.
But what's going on with Morant? Why does he keep doing this stuff?
At a certain point, I don't know if the league or the fans take him seriously enough comparatively to 2 years ago and how seriously they took him then when this whole the gun stuff really started to rear its ugly head. So I don't know how seriously and how much of a big player, a big star, a marketable figure in the NBA he is nowadays. I think he has considerably taken a shot because of the rising of, he's hurt, but Wembanyama, you still got Curry and LeBron in there. Anthony Edwards has sort of taken the next step in terms of being an American star. You got Jalen Brunson sitting there who's having a great year. The Grizzlies are good. They're sort of forgotten about. They're having a decent season, but I don't think the NBA is as worried now comparatively to 2 years ago about him and his role model tendencies.
He's a lost cause? Call it for what it is.
He's almost,
He's a lost cause.
It's almost like he's not a role model to anybody at the moment.
So
him throwing a grenade in the crowd is pretty insignificant comparatively to 2 years ago when he was flashing a gun on Instagram Live. That was a big deal because he was a big, young, budding star, And I don't think he is that at the moment.
No, he's not. And let's not forget the moment he had at Whistling Willie's with, God only knows what happened there.
So he's
By the way,
doing this for the attention.
And at the same time, Josh said after the game he's going to keep doing the celebration until, quote-unquote, it's a problem.
How about you win a game? How about you win a game and get my over? I don't understand. You had 47 wins. You haven't beaten a good team all year long.
You're done now. I jinxed
Hold on.
that.
They got Dallas.
I jinxed
They got
that.
the Nuggets in Dallas. So they're probably going to go one. I need to go 1-1. But I can't sit here and be under the impression that John Morant is Mr. Let's break some barriers on the celebration game when they're free falling in the NBA standings. They're going to have a play-in game for a chance to go against OKC, which they will lose 4 straight by a combined 188 points. So I'm not under the impression that John Morant is Mr. Let's salute him when he walks by because he's throwing grenades into the crowd. I'm a little over him. I'm a little over the Grizzlies. I don't know. I mean, the NBA definitely cares because he's a figure, but he's not as much of that biggest young star in the league figure that he was when this stuff first came about a couple of years ago.
So, toting guns on IG Live, the Whistling Willie's situation with money and girls, the whole nine. Toting guns, theoretical guns, this time not a real gun, at the Golden State bench, and now throwing hand grenades into a crowd of people. Yeah, I'm sick of John Morant.
Fake hand grenades.
I'm sick. Yeah, hey, Kyle, you there? I'm pretty tired and done with John Morant.
He's making the motion of throwing a hand grenade. He's not actually throwing hand grenades.
I'm pretty tired of John Morant. Pretty tired. Let's do number 4, Damian Perez.
Number 4.
All right, I don't mean to bounce around from football to basketball, but we go back to football this time on the college side. Nico I.
Yamaleva.
Sure. The star quarterback for Tennessee, nonetheless. He's been a fantastic player for Tennessee unless he's playing the Ohio State University at the Horseshoe.
Or any SEC team, but go ahead.
So Nico I, Kyle, this is, I think, now granted, you might have to fact check me on this, but I think this is the first time ever we have a holdout in spring camp. Nico I is holding out of Tennessee practices and stuff going on this spring because he wants more money. Tennessee is giving him $2.4 million in NIL. And the previous report before today is that they did not want to spend any more money and they will not bat an eye and give him more money. Well, today he sat out of practice. And this was a surprise to the university. It was a surprise to the coaches. He's asking for $4 million, so roughly $1.6 million in NIL. Is this going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on? Guys holding out for money.
Here's how I do it. If I was Tennessee in this situation, I understand your agents.
They need this guy. They need this kid.
Do they?
Yes.
Do they? He had 9 touchdowns in non-conference games. 4 of them were against Vandy. Like he was shaky against elite competition, including your Ohio State. So he was shaky against elite competition all year. And I know he's young. I know he's 6'6". He's got the sprawling arm. The whole thing. He's a good athlete. But at this point, the way I view it, you know how I'd handle it? I'd be more than happy to cut ties.
Wow.
I'd be more than happy to cut ties. This kid is making $2.5 million a year, and he wants 4, and the university's not going to balk, not at this point. See ya. Be gone. Good riddance.
You know someone's going to give him $4 million.
Okay, who?
Maybe within the SEC. A desperate team. Kyle, you know how these universities are. They are so desperate to get a star. I could see Lane Kiffin getting them. He just lost Jackson Dart.
They don't have $4 million to spend on a quarterback.
You sure?
I'd be surprised if Ole Miss, yes, has $4 million to spend today after the transfer portal.
I hear you, but
now if Georgia and Alabama want to go get him in the late transfer portal window, have him. In terms of a leadership thing on the field, this is not like the NFL where you're trying to look for some long-term stability. This is not that.
Fair.
You are playing him for a university. You are representing a university, and you are already making millions of dollars. You are already making about 250% more than every single player on your team. Every player, if they're maybe making in the $50,000 to $100,000 range, maybe a little more, $150,000, whatever it might be, for big-time players. Everybody else is not making that. Everybody else is just going for free school and to play for a good football team.
So to add a little more context here, and I apologize for not adding this, the day before the winter portal closed, Colin, December, sources told ESPN that Nico I's representatives wanted to renegotiate his deal to $4 million, but his deal was unchanged. He was expected to make $2.4, as I said. With the portal set, it's opening this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, the spring portal.
Yeah, the spring portal is set to open, so this is why this stuff is coming out. And the quote is, Tennessee was, quote, wasn't going to blink and pay him any more money. So maybe you're right. Maybe they do let him walk, and maybe they
like
go out.
Call the bluff. See ya.
Maybe they could go out and spend that 2.5 on another quarterback. Maybe you go out and find another quarterback.
How do you look
for
at your
2.5.
teammates again after that? How do you show up to practice a week later,
But-
and after you're still at 2.4 when you left, and you get 2.4 when you came back? Yeah, and listen, it's not the most significant practice of all time, but it's the prospect of it. You're not there, and then all of a sudden you're going to look back at your teammates and be like, hey, I tried to get a $1.4 million and bankrupt the softball team in exchange so I could come back and just as greedy as I could possibly be. Really?
It's check out, and
that is not a leadership move.
The big.
I'd be down on him. Oh, I'm down on him.
The theme for me on this is that it's slowly turning into professional sports.
It already is professional sports.
And my final question to you on this, Dame, let's hit this number 5.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Nico Yamaleva, the quarterback of Tennessee. He went 14 of 31, had 100 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, was sacked 4 times against Ohio State. Against University of Georgia, he went 20 of 33 and had 167 yards, 0 touchdowns, passing, and 0 interceptions again. So, listen, he had 2 rushing touchdowns against Ohio State. But there we go. Then the Arkansas game, which they lost, he went 17 of 29. He had 158 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had 3 games, 4 or 5, all year, where he had over 2 or more touchdowns passing. Who were they against? They were against Chattanooga, NC State, who was one of the worst teams I've ever watched last year, Vanderbilt, UTEP, and Mississippi State. He didn't do it against Kentucky. He didn't do it against Alabama. He didn't do it against Florida. He didn't do it against Oklahoma. He didn't do it against Kent State, the MAC representation.
His claim to fame was they never beat Alabama. They beat Alabama at home.
Yeah,
They beat Bama at home, and that's where, in my opinion, that's where the Nico I hysteria came from.
Fine.
Because Bama at the time was an elite team.
What are you paying for? What are you paying for?
Continue.
What are you paying for? Are you paying for somebody in the Mississippi State game to go 8 of 13? Are you paying for somebody against UGA or Ohio State to go 14 of 31 with 100 yards? Screw this guy. This guy trying to get $4 million for that? What type of output do you think you're bringing to Tennessee? I don't understand. What do you think you're bringing to the table? You had a better team last year than you do this year. You're losing multiple guys to the draft.
You are. Including the best edge rusher in college football.
You're already halfway through spring ball. You got the spring game coming up in 2 weeks.
But my thing is, the coaches they had this situation in December where he wanted more money. And the coaches were, quote unquote, shocked and concerned he was not at spring practice. You knew this was going to happen. And then, now, Damian, this leads me into number 5.
Number 5.
Are we going to see, is this the norm? Is this the norm in college football? Are we going to see guys continue to hold out for NIL?
There's not enough good players to do that. Trent Williams can do it because Trent Williams is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Guys like that can do it. Quarterbacks of the NFL teams can do it because they're the most important player on the field. Nico Aye is an important player on the field. He's an important fixture of what they do. That guy's not the most important player on that team. I don't care if he's a quarterback.
God.
Based on what I just read and all those games he had, that guy wasn't the reason they were winning games. That star-studded defense was the reason they were winning games.
Right.
It wasn't because that offense was prolific. And Dylan Sampson was a good player, the running back, and he's going to the NFL. And so, other than that, I am down on this game. $4 million for that? Oh,
in a pretty, I'll say this, and I agree. I probably, at this point, if you're Tennessee and you don't have the money, you got to let him walk.
Well, even if you do have
you got to let him walk.
We're not paying for that. We're not getting strong-armed by a kid in the middle of spring ball.
Hear me out. The SEC, in my opinion, is still open. Saban's gone. Kirby looked vulnerable last year. You had a chance to bring back your quarterback and some stability. You lost a lot. I'm not sitting here saying they didn't lose a lot, Kyle. But you had a chance for this kid to take the next step with your program and to really be in front of the 8 ball when it comes to having a quarterback in the SEC.
Think about the precedent you're setting. Getting strong-armed at the end of
isn't
spring
that
ball
college football? My point is, isn't that what college football is?
You do that to get them to go there. You negotiate to get them to go there. You don't renegotiate as you go along. And I know there's certain guys who do, and they happen to the UNLV kid, and they said, screw you, see ya, goodbye. And he left in the middle of the season. You can't renegotiate every 5 seconds. You're setting a bad precedent if you were to balk to that. If you're willing to cough up an extra $1.4 million just because a kid skips out in a spring ball.
So I know what it is. Do you want to know what it is? Carson Beck's getting $4 million. He wants Beck money. He wants Carson Beck money.
The same guy who got to the college football playoff, the same guy who led Georgia to a number of intense wins on an impossible schedule. That guy? Carson Beck had an excellent season the year before last year.
He did.
Nico did not.
That's but if I had
fine, I understand the precedent. Do that when you go back to Tennessee. Carson Beck got that money 3 months ago. Go do that 3 months ago. The idea that you're doing it in the middle of spring ball, trying to strong-arm a team, I think he set a bad precedent. I think Tennessee should say, screw you. If it was me, I'd shut the door in his face. And if you want to walk, please.
The winner,
don't let the door hit you in the butt.
You don't care about the second portal opening up and him. I think a team is going to offer 4, Cal. I do.
Fine. See ya. Is he that good? Yes or no?
We'll find out.
Is he worth $4 million? Yes or no? Yes or no?
After this situation, I'm going to say he's not.
I think generally
I don't think he's about. Here's the problem.
You watched that Ohio State game in the flesh.
Now, Colin, he could not pass. I think that had a lot more to do with the Buckeyes and the way they game planned around him, but he was able to run the ball.
He had 31 pass attempts.
And he almost got his bell rung.
And he did a whole lot of nothing. And he did a whole lot of nothing against every good team he played.
Here's my issue. I hate sitting here saying a college kid doesn't care about winning. I think that's a bad take by me. But at the same time, that's what this move tells me.
These guys don't care about winning. They don't care about the pride of the university, trying to make a big statement, trying to the pride of it all. They don't care about that. They care about the money. Of course they do. They care about the money. What are they supposed to think about? They get $2.6 million. What? That was enough? What do you need another? Did 2.6 not carry you over in Knoxville?
Right.
You could buy Knoxville at 2.6.
To your point, everyone's got their rosters set. I know the portal is opening up again, but as far as quarterbacks, Colin, that money's already spent, brother. That money is already spent.
That's a lot of money to cough up. You talk about Ohio State was the big story about $20 million. First of all, not every school has $20 million. And if let's say they have 12 or 15, all of a sudden they're going to give up. They have a third of that hanging around to go get a quarterback at the last second. See ya. Try it, Nico. Try it. That's why I'm down on him. And that kid's not that good. Let's call it like we see it. That kid is not that good. That kid was a bottom half quarterback in that conference. Lenora Sellers was not better than Lenora Sellers. He was not better than Beck. He was not better than Milrow. He was not better than Ewers and Arch Manning. He's not better than Lagway, who on Florida.
Probably had the better year than Lagway, but I understand.
He's not bad. You would take him tomorrow.
I take Lagway. To your point, I take Lagway over him next
tomorrow.
year.
Easy. No problem. Over that, all right.
Okay, I got a school for him. Florida State.
Florida State had a quarterback. They paid for a quarterback already.
Well, they got a kid who quit on the team last year.
Well, I agree. That
was a joke.
I don't agree with the prospect.
Would they give that guy $1 million?
This is not the NFL. What are you going to give? You're going to give two quarterbacks. Thomas Castellanos probably has a 7-figure deal. Maybe that's public. I don't know it. He probably has $1 million
figure
plus.
It out. I got to think.
He probably has. He probably has $1 million plus. You're gonna. What do you have? $5 million hanging around for two quarterbacks? This is not NFL free agency.
Reportedly, Thomas Castellanos' NIL deal is $492,000. So maybe Florida State doesn't have that $4 million that I thought they did.
No. And what are you going to do? You put $5 million into two different players? Oh, my God.
So goodbye.
They're not the Browns. They're not the Browns. They're not the Giants. They can't have 7 quarterbacks sitting there making 7 figures. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, that was our 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union. Shador Sanders, where is he going to go? Damian Perez, our producer, back.
Where's Nico I? No, more importantly, where's Nico I going?
Where's Nico I going to go? Where's Shador going to go? The whole 9 yards. Damian, I want to ask you really quick. We talked about Shador a little bit earlier, and I didn't get your thoughts on it. If you had to put money today, Shador Sanders, Jets, Raiders, the Saints now with Derek Carr's availability in question, the Steelers, the Giants still, the Browns. Where do you think Shador Sanders will end up?
Wow. I think the best spot after the news with Derek Carr is the Saints. I think that team's the best equipped for a young quarterback, but the Saints would have to trade up. So that's probably more. I don't see him dropping to what the Saints have 9.
Coach Kellen Moore. Yeah, Kellen Moore's a quarterback.
I gotta say, boys, I think that team stinks, but I understand.
The Giants are probably in the best position to draft him as far as like draft capital, where they stand in the draft, and then they also have the 2 veteran quarterbacks that they can kind of take their time with Shador. I think Cleveland would take Travis Hunter before Shador if it drops to him. It's
Can
tough.
you see the Jets making a move there?
I don't think so. I think with Fields, I don't think they should, honestly.
Fields is enough for you?
Yeah, if you bring in Shador, it's kind of like I don't know how Fields would feel about that. You know, you kind of gave him the contract, you gave him the vote of confidence. Now you're bringing an up and coming rookie. I just don't know how he would feel about that.
I understand. Fields knows his situation. Kyle, would you agree? He knows he's not guaranteed anything.
Same thing happened to him last year against Pittsburgh. I mean, yeah, it's a bad beat. And if he goes 3-0 and gets benched for Shedeur Sanders, then we could feel bad for Justin Fields. But if he goes out there and they go 1-4 and he gets benched, he can't go crying to the mountains for somebody to answer your call. So if I had to put a money on it today, I think the Saints now with this Carr thing are well in position to go see if he's available, or maybe even a Jackson Dart played a little safer at their spot. But we remains to be seen where he goes. Nico Yamaleva of Tennessee.
Are you pronouncing
football.
that right, by the way?
I don't know.
That's why I just say Nico I.
Yamaleva, I think it is.
Listen, my guys that I watch, McElroy on ESPN, our very own Matthew Berry, the mouth of the South Feinbaum, Nico I. It's easier, right?
Yamaleva, I think. I could be wrong. Yamaleva is his last name. But that was Mike Rizzo. Colin Russo, our 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union. We got to blitz the book. Coming up next, stick around for it. We're live at Hurricane Grill and Wings in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Stick around. Russo and Rizzo coming up on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Hey, Panthers fans, it's almost playoff time. Join the ESPN West Palm Street Team and Coors Light at Charlie's Bar and Grill in Stewart as the Panthers gear up to defend their crown. Swing by Monday, April 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. as they take on the Rangers. Cheer on your Cats, enjoy some ice-cold $3 Coors Lights, and score big with some giveaways, including a chance at some Florida Panthers swag bags. Must be 21 or older to participate, and Molson Coors reminds you to please drink responsibly.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit one checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Embark on a culinary road trip through South Florida at the 2025 Orange Bowl Food and Wine Celebration, presented by Florida Blue. An evening of foodie fun awaits on Friday, April 11th at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, with unlimited food and drink tastings from over 40 of South Florida's top restaurants and chefs, and dance the night away with the live band and DJ. Tickets start at just $125, and proceeds benefit Orange Bowl Care's community initiatives. Get your tickets at orangebowl.org.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
ESPN 106.3 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet. Home of the Miami Heat, now the new home of Inter Miami. Catch all the games and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 106.3. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sportsbook. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo rolling on live here on a Friday edition of the program, sending you off into the weekend. We are live at Hurricane Grill and Wings in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Well, it's getting a little toasty. Mike and I are getting the thick of that right now as we are outdoors in the sun, but it actually hasn't been too bad. It's been a cool winter for Florida standards, but we know it's going to get hot here pretty soon, and once it gets hot, there's no going back for a couple months here in the South Florida area. Now you can go over to John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, and they've been proudly serving Palm Beach County since 1960. Visit CassidyAC.com to check them out today and see what they offer. They've been keeping homes cool and comfortable for the better part of 6 decades. And even if you're not even sure if your unit is operating properly, you could go out and let Cassidy's highly trained technicians troubleshoot, perform diagnostic checks on your system. It doesn't even matter the brand or the age. They're willing to come out and check on your systems and make sure they're up to date. Or if you need an upgrade, they're the type to help you out. They're local. They understand the peace of mind that it takes to have a functioning plumbing and air conditioning system. They've been part of our local communities. They support organizations like the YMCA, the Palm Beach Gardens Youth Athletic Association. And I'm telling you, in terms of customer service, they're second to none. They know the area. They've been in the area. They've been growing in the area for the better part since 1960. They're family-owned. They understand it. And that's over at John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, rolling on here with Russo and Rizzo. Damian Perez helping us out. It's time for us to put together a couple picks together with our pals over at Hard Rock Bet. Maybe we'll put together a little parlay going into the weekend. I think it's time for us to blitz the book presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Send some heat. Pin your ears back. It's time to blitz the book. Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
All right, Mike, let's put together a little bit of a parlay here. We got the Masters going on. We got the MLB, the NBA. Let's put together, what do you say, a 6-legger?
You want to go deep? You want to go deep tonight? All right.
Let's go 4. Let's go 4.
If I was going to say.
Let's go 4 and a Masters.
Okay, fair. Well, I got 2 for us, and I know it's probably we don't like the pitching matchup, but hear me out on this, Colin. So I finally won a game. When it came to going streaking. We're not streaking today, we're blitzing the book. But at the same time, I finally won a game. And it was the 1 a.m. game between the Braves and the Phillies. The Braves ended up winning. Kyle, they were playing until 2 in the morning last night. I think we take the Cardinals minus 105 because they're playing the Phillies. The Phillies had to fly from Atlanta to St. Louis late last night. And then I say we take the Rays, who are on a 6-game losing streak, who are home against the Braves, who pitched one of their best pitchers at Schwellenbach last night and had to fly to Tampa Bay at 3 a.m. Are you following the theme here?
I love travel schedules. You want to do based on travel schedules?
Based on travel schedules and the late game last night, I think we go Cardinals and Rays because those 2 teams are rested. Those other teams probably didn't get to their hotels and in bed until 4 a.m. this morning.
I don't hate that. Do you want to do the money line there?
Yeah, just straight money line.
So
St. Louis to win.
Tampa Bay is minus 135 and St. Louis is minus 105. So
I think, yeah. I think we put those 2 together and then you take 2 and then we agree with a golf bet. Okay. You like that?
Sure, let's do that. I like that quite a bit. All right, Memphis is playing tonight on a back-to-back against Denver. Denver won their first game without Mike Malone against the Sacramento Kings. Denver is minus 7 in this one. Memphis playing on a back-to-back on the road. Do they need the game? Kind of. I kind of want to take that game. I kind of don't.
You want to keep fading the Grizzlies until that last game of the year.
Well, I need a win, and watch us take Denver, and then they win the game.
They're minus 300, by the way, Denver. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
Ja was throwing theoretical grenades at the crowd last night.
Yeah, you don't get great odds there, do you?
No, it's minus 300.
All right, fair enough.
Do you have is there anything else?
Cleveland's at the Knicks.
We don't need the game, though.
Right. That's why
you want to take the Knicks.
The Knicks.
The Knicks are like 0-12.
They haven't beaten anybody good all year.
That's
you don't
theme?
think that Tom Thibodeau will care? Yes.
They're minus 115. This one's like down the middle. Cleveland 105.
I can't believe we're taking the Knicks against a good team, but I figured the fact that
against my
momentum,
team, not against a good team, my team.
They care about that type of thing because they just need the confidence that we could beat this team. They haven't beaten Boston all year. They've stunk against Cleveland. Okay. They've stunk against the Western Conference.
All right, they're minus 115.
We don't have to touch it.
They're at it. We'll add it. If you're sold on it, I'm sold on it.
All right, fine.
You're sold on it?
Yeah.
You just gave me the whole spiel, and now you want to...
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
You sure?
Yeah. Why not? How about this? Brooklyn and Minnesota are playing tonight. Minnesota, again, on a back-to-back. They scored 148 points last night. The over-under in this one, 216.5.
Okay, hang on.
I would take the over in points.
So, hang on.
Against the Brooklyn Nets.
Nets. Okay,
Nets,
I'm on
Minnesota,
my Discovery page.
in Minnesota tonight. Minnesota coming off a win against Memphis last night. They scored 148 points.
We want...
The over 216.
Yes. Stand by.
Over 216. And then I think we got to go over to the Masters and pick our winner.
Yeah, we do. Work on that. Yes, I got it. 216. All right, we have our four
All
bets.
Right, so DeChambeau is plus 325. You got McIlroy, who was about plus 330.
Kyle, you know me. I already took Rory at plus 600 to start the tournament. Do I double down?
You're almost hedging in another direction if you do it that way.
I think we take Rory. No?
Scheffler's
you don't like
minus 1 in the day on hole 13. He's 5 under.
How about Christian? That bet hit last night for Christian, by the way. Christian made a bet on a hole that was coming up at 5 minutes. Download the Hard Rock Bet app, folks. It's worth it. All right, but what's that McIlroy odds again?
DeChambeau is plus 325. McIlroy is plus 325. This is to be the winner. Unless you want to do something small. You want to do something for Saturday?
I kind of want to...
We could do that. We could do something for Saturday.
I was going to say I like McIlroy at 325, but we could do Saturday.
It doesn't matter to me.
Let's do McIlroy. Are you
thing?
okay?
You want to do McIlroy
because I already got him at plus 600, and it'll give us an extra incentive.
All right, this guy's just about plus 5,000 odds, plus 4,900 odds.
So it's 20. If we bet $20, we win $1,305. Damian Perez, do you see the vision?
I love it. I love the odds.
Is there an Inter Miami bet you want to throw in there for Sunday?
See, I want to give you Lionel Messi to score, but I don't know if he'll start. There's never a guarantee with that.
Right.
Too much going up in the air there. If we're not that confident, let's not do it. We already got 5 legs here.
Is that not? Okay.
Hey, is he gonna? Damien just said he might not start.
But we could go. You know, there's a lot more players other than Messi that play. What's Suarez at? Dame,
to score?
Do you have that in front of you? Yeah, Luis Suarez to score.
Give me 2 seconds.
Let's take a look here. Let's take a look here.
Because you know,
if Inter Miami,
here we go. I got
player
it. Yeah.
props. To score any time is plus 160.
It's not worth it.
That's not good odds.
It's not worth it. Leo Afonso plus 260. Damien, you know, you and I both know
so,
that kid's not getting in.
So I like where we're at. We're plus 5,000 here.
Sure. All right.
We already need McIlroy to win the tournament.
So that is, folks, just once again, we have the St. Louis Cardinals, and I'm going to tell you the vision on each side of it. The St. Louis Cardinals are playing the Phillies. The Phillies did not go to bed in their hotel in St. Louis, roughly 3 a.m. local time in St. Louis. We have the Cardinals to win. We have the Rays to win. And that vision there is they played the Braves, who were in that same crazy game that was on until 1 in the morning on the East Coast. The Knicks to win, over 216, and Rory McIlroy plus 325. That is $20 to win $1,305.
Yeah, the Knicks own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Pacers, so the Knicks would have to lose both of these games, and the Pacers would have to win both of them in order to steal that third seed in the Eastern Conference. So the Knicks need the game. Maybe they're just thinking about beating the Nets the last game of the year, but that's not a Tom Thibodeau way to do it. So I think they're actually going to be motivated tonight. And Cleveland, on the other hand, is pretty much locked in to that first seed. So I like where we're at. That was our Hard Rock Bet Blitz, the book. The over 216 Nets at Timberwolves I really like. I'm not usually an over-under guy.
I hate over-unders.
They scored 52 points in the third quarter last night. I don't know if people are not playing, but they need to play because they're still stuck at the moment in that play, and they're still the 8th seed, but they're 47-33. You got 3 teams there. You got 2 teams in the Western Conference. You get the Lakers, who have clinched a spot in the playoffs at 49-31, and the 4th seed has 2 tied with Denver and the Clippers, with Denver with the head-to-head victory over the Clippers. And then you got 3-way tie with Golden State, Memphis, and Minnesota at 47-33. Golden State has 2 games remaining against the Clippers and the Trailblazers. Memphis has 2 games remaining against the Nuggets and the Mavericks. And the Minnesota Timberwolves have an easy schedule against the Nets and the Jazz, both at home, 2 of the worst teams in the NBA. So, if there's going to be an odd man out in this equation, I have one guess, and it rhymes with Memphis. But, geez, I mean, they got to deal with the Nuggets on the road tonight, but on a back-to-back, so they're a little bit behind the 8 ball. Yeah. That's our Hard Rock Bet thing. I like that.
I do, too. So, 20 to win $1,305. You win?
Sure.
Let's go.
Oh, gosh. All right, that's our Hard Rock Bet. Blitz the book. Parlays. We roll on here live from Hurricane Grill and Wings. We got Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez. We got to close out the program, send you off into the weekend right here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar and Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Lowe's knows how to help pros save. That's why the new MyLowe's Pro Rewards program lets you unlock exclusive member deals on the things you need every day on the job. Plus, MyLowe's Pro Rewards members can get volume discounts on eligible orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Exclusions, more terms and restrictions apply. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape and your home for sports too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Close out the program here on a Friday edition, April 11th, 2025. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. If you missed any of the program today, missed any of the show, you want to listen back, go listen in podcast format, uploaded in full at ESPN West Palm and on Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, or watch back at ESPN West Palm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter/X, all those great places. You can listen in full there. It's Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez with you. You get the Masters second round underway. A lot of the guys in the lead have finished up their rounds, but Scotty Scheffler is still in the thick of it. I believe 1 under on the day. But Mike can give you a full rundown of what's going on the leaderboards.
Yes, and
over that tournament.
Yes, correct.
In Augusta.
Correct. For that tournament in Augusta, the leaderboard is brought to you by Paint Care Florida. Folks at Paint Care Florida, their specialists use state-of-the-art procedures to relieve pain and get you moving. Paint Care Florida. Stop hurting, start living today. Well, Colin mentioned that big day by Rory McIlroy. Even though he went 6 under, he is not in the lead. That belongs to Justin Rose, who shot a 65 in that first round. That is the low round of the tournament so far, 65, which belongs to Rose, 8 under and in first. Bryson DeChambeau sitting at 7 under. Rory McIlroy, I mentioned, he shot 6 over today. Problem was he shot 72 in that first round. So he's at 6 under, tied for third. Other players tied for third. Corey Connors, Tyrell Hatton. And just to mention again, Tyrell Hatton and Bryson DeChambeau, your 2 live golfers that are up there on the leaderboard. After that, you got Matty McCarthy at 5 under, Shane Lowry, the big Irishman, at 5 under, Jason Day at 5, and Scotty Scheffler at 5. And just a reminder, Day through 14, Scheffler through 13. And I apologize, I thought Day and Scheffler were in the same group. They are not in the same group. But Scheffler and Day still out on the course, still could do some damage on that leaderboard. As I said, they were both at 5 under. The leaderboard update is also brought to you by Breakers Palm Beach, Kaiser University, and PGA Golf Club. That was the big leaderboard update for that tournament down in Augusta.
Mike Rizzo, Colin Rizzo. Mike took the Clippers over on the season.
Under.
Excuse me. It's about 46.5, 45.5.
And I missed.
And he lost that. Speaking of the Clippers, I want to get into this really quick. The last 20 games for the Los Angeles Clippers in the NBA side of things, they're 16-4.
Are you rubbing it in? You're rubbing it in.
I'm just saying, I got to point to this. Kawhi Leonard in that period has averaged 24.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. Harden, on the other hand, James Harden, that is, averaged about 26, 9 assists, and about a steal a game on good shooting percentages as well. And then Zubac, who has been scoring 20 a game while averaging 12 rebounds a game on 66% shooting. Talk about a little bit of a big three, a pseudo big three, guys who have started to mesh really well together. One thing about Kawhi that I think kind of goes a little flushed out is he's a very good postseason player. And, I mean, we're talking about a multi-time champ here with multiple different teams, which doesn't happen very often. He's the Defensive Player of the Year. This guy was the best wing defender in the NBA for a period of about 4 to 5 years. I think one of the more underrated players, and I've been a Kawhi guy forever because he's authentic. And Kawhi, he doesn't say anything. And on the court, he's not fishing for fouls. He's utilizing the mid-range game. He's almost of a player of years past.
I agree, but I can't take the load, man. I can't take that serious.
Well,
man.
the thing is,
him not playing games,
with him, he can't last. He doesn't last. He is damaged goods after about 60 games. It was almost better for him to miss the first half of the season because he for whatever reason cannot put together 75 games in a season.
Kawhi is a player who went toe-to-toe with LeBron.
And
Heat LeBron. You know what I mean?
Yes, and Durant and Curry. This is a guy who, that Spurs team, when the Warriors went 73-9, it goes completely forgotten.
It does.
That the Spurs that year won 67 games and went 40-1 at home. They were 40-1 at home.
So and that was when
that was when he got hurt with the Zaza Pachulia closeout when they were leading in the third quarter in Game 1.
Piggybacking off of that, Leonard stepped up at a big time for that Spurs team. Duncan was getting older. Ginobili was getting older. Parker was getting older. And he was an option, a young option, Colin, that they could go to not only late in games, but early on in games too. You throw him on. You threw him on LeBron. You threw him on Durant. But what impressed me the most was the two-way player that Greg Popovich turned him into. He wasn't necessarily the offensive star when he came into the league. I remember, and Colin, it was probably like 2011, my sophomore year of maybe freshman year, sophomore year of high school. Kawhi was coming out. He had the biggest hands anyone ever saw at the NBA Combine. And he was known as this freak athlete from San Diego State. I remember watching him in the NCAA tournament. And my brother looked at me and goes, Mike, that kid's going to be a player in the NBA. He's too big. He's too long. He's going to figure it out. And sure enough, he went to the best possible situation with Greg Popovich and that Spur core that were during their prime winning championships in the 2010s-ish. So I go.
He is a more accomplished.
And he totally. But the thing that sticks out to me is the two-way player that he became.
Right. Like when you talk about how Tracy McGrady got his career robbed from some injuries and stuff like that. Just
never made out of the first round, but I understand.
Never being able to stay healthy. Kawhi Leonard is somebody who is accomplished, who has won championships, who has individual accolades, who doesn't necessarily have the individual offensive accolades, but at his best in the postseason, I would take him over a lot of great players in the NBA. I would take him top 5, top 6 tomorrow. If I needed a series and I need 7 games out of somebody,
I can't count.
Barring health, I would take Kawhi Leonard tomorrow.
And you said it, barring the health. All right, so without barring the health, yeah, he's a closer. He's going to guard the best player, and he's going to take the final shot and probably make it. I can't do the barring health, though, count. It's part of the league, sadly.
Right, but my point of this conversation is Kawhi Leonard. It's been such a shame because it reminds you about how the Clippers have been playing, how much he's elevated them, and how well he has played. Just how good. He's a Hall of Fame player, undoubtedly. And he was capable of so much more and being so much more of a fixture of the NBA, a la Durant, LeBron, because he is that wing, best perimeter defender in the league archetype that could score, that is sort of the no BS type. That is what Kawhi was. He was almost a perfect third fixture to them, and he was for a little bit, but the injuries really derailed him. And for some reason, he never wanted to stay in Toronto, and him jumping teams doesn't help, but somebody that it almost gets forgotten about just how good he is, just how important he is, and just how good he could have been had no injuries.
There was an era in basketball where the 3 was the position, right? You had LeBron. And I know Kevin Durant's 7 foot, but he played as a 3. Kawhi Leonard plays as a 3. And then Giannis, right? 7 foot, but he's a 3 at heart.
He's a 4, but yes.
But you get what I'm saying. Like the forwards completely dominated that league for so long. And for Leonard to be in the company of Durant and LeBron, that is special. And the one thing that held him back from getting to that level are the injuries. And the thing, I'm going to remember his Clipper tenure, barring a big run or a trip to the finals, whatever. The sad part is I'm going to remember his Clipper run for not being able to stay healthy. Kawhi on the Spurs won championships. It was great with Greg Popovich and all those great players in Ginobili Parker.
His Clipper run is also not even done.
The Raptor run was, he was there for a couple years, won a championship.
He was there for a year, yeah.
The Clipper run is guy was never available. And as you said, and I even mentioned it too, we got a long way to go. Colin, I don't think that team's winning anything. And maybe this is me, my bitterness.
That team
could be my bitterness.
Is dangerous.
But you understand why I took that under. Those guys never play. Harden plays, but Leonard didn't play. And I don't know. I did not trust that.
He's a good coach.
Ty Lue.
He's a good coach, Ty Lue.
I went against my guy.
Is underrated. Norman Powell is sitting there. They got James Harden. They got Kawhi when healthy. I think is still one of the best players in the NBA. That team is going to be dangerous. And I think Kawhi as a career has been a little overshadowed by the brilliance that we see in LeBron and Durant. Kawhi Leonard is an all-time great, in my opinion.
He is.
In terms of one of the best two-way wing players of all time. He is closer to Scottie Pippen than people want to give him credit for.
Well, in his defense, he was the guy and won a championship in Toronto. I think listen, this is rich. I think he might be even above Pippen because he won it.
He'd be a top 25 player of all time. But are you ready to put him there?
You get my point of he won a championship and he was the guy. All right, I understand that Pippen is a great player, and I actually go to bat for Pippen a lot, all right? And I know he's not the best off the court.
But that's who his comparison is. He's a Scottie Pippen with a little bit more scoring ability.
I think you got to – he was a number one. Pippen tried – now, the Bulls did win 50-some games that first year without Michael. Pippen tried to be the one, and it just didn't work. And I understand older on in his career, or rather later on in his career, he wasn't the player he was when he was with the Blazers and company. The big, I guess, my long roundabout point to this is Kawhi is a 1. I don't think Pippen's a 1. I don't think Scottie was ever a 1.
Yeah, but Scottie put together a better career than Kawhi did.
Dude, the 6 championships.
What, he's not a 1? He wasn't a 1 when Michael Jordan was there? I mean, what, are you going to fault him for that? I understand the point, but I'm just saying, my grand scheme
Kawhi
point,
was the main vocal
Kawhi is so
point.
much closer to what Scottie is in the grand scheme of the NBA than people want to give him credit for. That we were looking at an all-time great, in my opinion, a top 40, 35 player ever at his best, and he won't get there because he didn't play enough. And that's a problem. And you got to play enough.
Are you?
But he is such an underrated asset.
Are you buying them possibly winning a playoff series? As of now, they played a head coachless Denver Nugget team. If it's a 4 and a 5, I know we got a couple more games, but if they play Denver,
they'd give Denver fits.
I think they might win.
If Golden State ever snuck back in there, they'd give Golden State fits.
Here's my thing. I think with how I watched a lot of Clipper games, obviously, because I bet against them. I was that guy rooting against them to lose. Like, dude, Kyle, they've been the hottest team in the NBA. So I wouldn't bet against them if they played.
16-4 in their last 20.
They played a head coachless Nuggets. I wouldn't bet against them.
And they're sort of on their last legs. This is Harden. This is Leonard, healthy entering the postseason with a couple young players. Norman Powell taking the next step. You got Zubac right there. It's a pretty well-rounded team. Paul George, addition by subtraction. Watch out for the Clippers. Watch out for the Clippers. Kawhi is still one of the best when he's available. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, sending you off into the weekend. If you missed any of the program today, listen back. We'll be back at it on Monday from 4 to 6 p.m. Listen to Mike tomorrow on Saturday Tailgate. Listen to myself and Kate Chumsland on Sunday Huddle at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Thanks to Damian Perez keeping us up over the air. We're live from Hurricane Grill and Wings saying so long. We'll be back at it after the weekend. Enjoy Masters weekend. Lot to cover on Monday. Stick around for it. But it's been Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money time?